Hi everyone, can you hear me? Hi Caroline. Hi Barbara. Just having a quick drink of my juice. Okay, I can see a couple of comments. I can see that there's 11 or so people here already, but I can only see a couple of comments. It's a good job you can't actually see me. I actually look a mess. Hair's a mess. I've got bits of fabric all over my black t-shirt because I've been messing about with fabric. Caroline, you're hearing me fine. Brilliant. Thank you. I'll just give it a few more minutes for some more people to hop on, and then I'll show you what I've been up to and what I'm hoping just to try and cut tonight. Is everybody okay? Are you all keeping okay? Are you ready for Christmas? I'm not, and I've only got Hannah to buy for because nobody else in our families this year can meet, so they've all said they don't want presents, not even put a tree up. Hi Rachel, hope you're okay. Irene, Southern California, hi. Mandy G. It's awful, isn't it? It's rainy and windy and awful today. Hi Patty H. Hi Linda Lee in New York. Wow, I love this, that we can all just come together from all around the world on a Sunday night and just chat and have a common interest. I think it's brilliant. I think I'm prepared, but who knows? I've probably not got half of what I need. Hi Marlene in Canada. Lovely to have you here. Right, well there's about 19 or so people it's saying now so far, so I think we'll make a start. So let's get rid of that. So Mandy G saying we're doing the same, just buying for our daughter, not buying for extended family this year. I know, I mean, I was going to be fair, Mandy, but both my sister-in-laws said that because we can't meet up like we all usually get together at Boxing Day, they didn't want to bother. They don't want presents, so I've just said, right, it'll be just Hannah in our house that gets a present this year. I don't honestly feel like putting the tree up. I just think it's been a dreadful year, and I think there's been a lot of people that have suffered, and me personally, I don't think putting a tree up and, you know, I don't know. Anyway, that's just me. So, right, let me see, because I can see comments going up quickly now. Philippa is saying, hello Ashley, you and me both, always glad this is one way. I look a state, honestly. In fact, I scared myself when I went upstairs to the bathroom before. Hi Alison from Ammanford, hope you're well. Barbara's saying, fine here in Cumbria, been a busy week with decorations to put up and presents to buy. These sessions are stress-free, not like my Christmas. Oh, thank you. Well, I'm glad you feel that they're stress-free, because for me, they're stressful, to be fair. I always worry that I'm going to mess up or do something wrong. Patty's saying, I am rushing to get everything ready to ship out to the kids, not getting together this year. Sad about that. I know. I went to the post office on, when did I go? One day in the week, I can't remember, sending out stamping up catalogues and things to my team and Christmas cards. 45 minutes I was in the post office and I came out £85 lighter. And that was no presents, that was literally just stamping up catalogues and gifts for people that have bought with me in November, you know, stamping up customers, all that kind of stuff, madness. But hey ho, I love it, and I love it that everybody supports me, so I thank everybody for that. Hi from Michigan, Darlene. It's lovely having some time when you can switch off from everything else. Caroline is saying, so sad that some won't be putting up Christmas decorations. Mine went up early so I can enjoy the blessing of the season longer. I love the lights at night and remembering what blessings I have. I know, Caroline, and I feel the same, but I just can't bring myself to put a tree up. I don't know. Maybe I'll give in, but even Hannah's not asked, to be fair, so... Irene is saying, bought my own present and a 230DX ScanNCut. Good for you. Good for you, Irene. Hi, Anna. She's saying, hi, Ashley, so happy to be here. Hope all is well with everyone. Safe holidays to all. Yeah, definitely. Right, so not last Sunday, but the Sunday before, if you remember. Hi, Ellen. I did reply to you, Ellen, and I think I've just very quickly seen your email back to me about the beautiful projects you sent me. So thank you for that. I will include them in the next blog post, which will probably be towards the end of this month. Alison Morgan saying, yes, thanks, Ashley. Troll Patrol on duty. Love it. Thanks, Alison. Right, so... not last Sunday, the Sunday before, if you were with me, I know a lot of you were, I made that little coaster, if you remember, from start to finish, where we cut it using the, let me move this stuff out of the way, I cut it using the fabric mat and the fabric blade, and then I actually sewed it all together. And then I think it was Vicky said something about, why do I not do some applique or something next time? And I was going to do that last Sunday, but I never got round to doing it. So I made that card last week, if you remember. So I'm not using the fabric mat or the fabric blade tonight. I'm going to be using a regular mat. So just your regular standard ScanNCut mat and my regular auto blade. Okay, so I'm just going to move the fabric blade out of the way. Yeah, that's okay, Ellen. Lovely, thank you. Hi, Donna. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to be cutting some shapes with my regular standard mat, hopefully, if it's sticky enough, and my regular blade, and the shapes are going to be used for applique. So the first shapes that I'm going to hopefully try and cut is some applique, which I'm going to put on here. This has got a stain on it. It's a water stain. When I was ironing this yesterday, I had some water on my little mini ironing board and it stained this red fabric. So I don't know whether that's going to come out or not. But literally I've cut 2 bits of fabric. This is a dark navy and this is a piece of this check that I used here. And I've ironed onto the back some heat and bond. And that's as far as I've got. And I'm going to probably, if I can, I'm going to use the bell and the bow that I did show a coaster about this size last week with a bell on it. And I'm thinking I'm probably going to cut the same from this. So anybody can do this because I'm using an iron-on. So you don't need the special fabric mat or blade, like I say. So I'm not going to make this project tonight. I'm just going to cut the elements, and then this is going to be like another coaster with some applique, and I probably might have to keep this myself if this stain doesn't come out. But then I'm also going to cut a couple more pieces of applique, and this is some white cotton, got a bit of red thread on there, that again I've ironed some heat and bond on. And this white project is, I think, something I'm going to try sometime this week. And this is a project that's in canvas and it involves some machine embroidery. So I thought, as I was cutting applique tonight, I might as well try and cut the applique for this future project as well while I'm at it. So that's where we're at, and that's what I'm hoping to try and do. Right, Mandy G is saying, we have put the tree up as it does look so lovely on the dark night. Roll on. I know, 2020, our daughter's wedding cancelled in May and they're desperate for it to be allowed in May 2021. Oh, well, fingers crossed, Mandy G. I hope that everything has been put on hold this year, hasn't it? Alison's saying, my friend's daughter Christmas wedding was cancelled, Mandy, and rescheduled for December. Oh no, it's awful, it really is. Right, so let me flip you to the ScanNCut machine. I'm just going to put the blade in this machine while I remember. So I'm just putting my regular auto blade into my machine. Okay. I'm going to go into the patterns section, just making sure everything's still recording. And I'm going to go into this section here with like the Eiffel Tower and the tree. And then the Christmas things are on my machine in this section down here, I think, from memory. In the CM900 and the 600, I think the Christmas designs are easier to find because I think there's an icon specifically from memory. But anyway, I think they're in here. Yeah, so it's this bell and this bow, which I think I'm going to try and cut from this navy blue and red fabric. So I'm going to leave it at the size it is. So it's 3.94 inches high and it's just over 3 inches wide. So I'm going to say okay. And then there's a middle bit for the bell, but I don't think I used that last time. So I'm just going to use the bell and the bigger bow section. So I'm going to choose the bell, and on the screen it shows me the design, and I'm going to say okay. And I'm going to say set. And these two fabrics are slightly different thicknesses, so I think I'm just going to cut the bell first. So I'm going to peel off the plastic off my regular mat, and it might make a horrible noise for a minute. I've got my piece of navy blue, I think this is some kind of cotton fabric, and I've ironed heat and bond onto the back. Now, this was the only piece of wrapping that I could find, and this must be years old because it's got Pazel's blade depth and pressures on it, and this literally had some tiny little scraps inside it which I've actually thrown away and have just saved the packaging. But there's a heat and this is the ultra hold, but I don't think that's what I'm using, that's what this package is. There's a heat and bond ultra hold, and that's like a no sew, so technically you can iron this onto the back of your fabrics, cut your shapes out, and you can iron them onto fabric and you shouldn't need to sew through them. And then the heat and bond that I'm actually using, I've just got like by the yard, if you like. I bought it ages ago and I just bought like so many yards of it. But I think that one, the one I'm using, I think normally comes in a purple packaging, and that's the one, it might be called Heat and Bond Light, I can't remember, but that's the one that you normally sew through, okay? They'll both do the same job, it's just that the Ultra Hold, I still sew through the Ultra Hold when I've used this in the past, but technically you can just iron it on and it's supposed to stay in place. So it's heat and bond, heat with an N in the middle and then bond. So anybody that's new, you can also use the Brother iron-on applique sheet, which I've got somewhere and I can't find. So that's why I've literally pulled out my heat and bond. So the way I cut fabric that has heat and bond on it is first of all, you peel off, you iron it with a hot iron, and then you peel away the release paper. And I'm not sure if you can see in the light, can you see on this blue here, it's shiny. That's the adhesive of the heat and bond. Hi Jacqueline, sorry. So I'm going to peel that away, and I stick this to my mat with the heat and bond side down, and I always have, and that's the way that I've always cut fabric when I'm using heat and bond. Okay, so I'm just going to stick it into the middle of my mat, and I'm just going to burnish it down on this mat with my spatula. I've just seen a comment, somebody's just said, Mandy G has just put, yes, the purple one is heat and bond light. Okay, so that's what I'm using on all these fabrics, but the only packaging I could find was this old packaging from the Ultra Hold. Okay, but either will do, it doesn't matter. Heat and bond always works for me, and the Appliqué iron-on sheet from Brother has worked for me. I've used that as well in the past. Right, I'm going to flip you back to the screen for the ScanNCut. I'm just going to load the mat into my machine, which you won't be able to see at the moment, but you should be able to hear. I'm going to choose the background scan on the machine and press start, and just let that roll through. Vicky, I'm using the standard mat and the standard blade in my 2200 Disney machine, so I'm not using the fabric mat or the fabric blade this week at all. Okay, I'm just going to go into the settings and make the background lighter so that I can see this piece of navy blue, and hope that this bell fits on. And I think it's just a fraction too big for my fabric. So I'm going to come into edit, object edit, and I'm just going to take the size down a little bit on the width. Might take it to 3 inches actually. Let me just see what fits on. I don't want it to be right up to the edge. I'll make it 3 inches wide and hope that fits on. I'm going to say okay, okay, and I'm going to zoom in and just make sure that that fits on there, and it does. I'm just going to scoot it over a little bit, just using the arrows. So that looks as though it's going to be okay. So I'm going to say okay. Okay again, okay, select and cut. Now I don't know if I can move you, just give me 1 minute. See if I can move you ever so slightly. You might not be able to see it all properly, but I have got my mat loaded with my blade, and I'm going to say cut. So this is a piece of navy blue cotton with heat and bond ironed onto the back, with the heat and bond side stuck to my regular mat with my regular blade, okay? And I'm going to say start. My only concern here is because this piece of fabric is quite small, that I've just not got too near the edge and the blade will catch, but it doesn't appear to have done. So I don't know if I can bring you any further down. Let me see if I can. I'm not sure how well you're going to see this, but my fabric is there. Before I do anything, I'm just going to lift a corner and peel it back just to make sure it's cut, and it has cut through beautifully. So I'm going to unload the mat. In fact, before I do anything, let me bring you back up. Don't want to keep moving you and making you sick. It's saying select next part or finish. So I'm going to say select next part, and I'm going to choose the bow, and I'm going to say okay. I'm going to leave it as it is. I don't think it'll make that much difference for the bow, to be honest, because I know I've resized the bell, but I've not taken it down that much. I'm going to say set, and there is the next part on the mat. But for now, I'm going to unload the mat and just flip you back. So if I peel away this fabric now that had the heat and bond ironed onto the back of it, and there is the bell, which is going to be the applique. And obviously that at some point is going to sit on here. So now I just need to cut the bow. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to peel the paper away from the heat and bond, which I've ironed onto this fabric. And again, I think you can see the shiny. The shiny is the adhesive, which when you then put this onto your fabric and iron it, it activates the adhesive, and that's what makes it stick onto your fabric. So again, I'm just going to put this on my mat with the heat and bond side down. I'm going to load this mat back into the machine and do a background scan. And scan this piece of fabric now, ready for this bow to be positioned, which I'm going to have to rotate because the bow's vertical on the screen and they've put the fabric on the mat horizontal, but that's no big deal. I can just go into the settings and flip that. So I can see the piece of fabric and I can see my bow. So with the bow selected, I'm going to go into Edit, Object Edit. I'm trying to do this so that you can see what I'm doing, but keep my hand out from in front of the camera. I'm going to go into the rotate icon, which is top right, and I'm just going to rotate it 90 degrees to the left. Say OK, bring it down onto my piece of fabric. If I zoom in, can you see? So the bit that's highlighted is the actual bow, the cutting file, and the bit that's behind it, if I go into the settings and make the background darker, you should now be able to see my dark piece of check fabric behind that bow. So that's where I've done my background scan. I'm going to say OK, 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 select and cut, and just do exactly the same thing. And rather than keep moving the camera, I'm just going to cut the fabric and then I'll move you back to my other camera once it's cut. This is a thicker fabric, and don't know if you can hear the blade. It was a different sound going through this fabric. So now I have finished with this one, so I'm going to hit finish and unload the mat, and hopefully this has cut because I didn't check before I unloaded the mat. So I'm going to peel this one away, and there is my little bow. Okay, I'm just going to move the ScanNCut away from in front of me for now. So eventually, as I say, I've got a watermark stain on here from a damp patch that was on my ironing board, but eventually this is going to get ironed onto here, and this is going to get ironed onto here. So the glue on the back of this fabric will glue this down to this red section, and then I'll sew around it. And if you remember last week, I showed you a white one of these that had like a pink bell. This is the same design, only that particular coaster has been sent out in the post the other day to somebody as a gift. So that's the first set of applique. So Vicky's saying, okay, standard mat, I had problems when I put shiny side down on extra sticky fabric mat. Okay, Vicky, so yeah, whenever I use heat and bond with the on my fabric, I only ever use my regular mat, not the mat with the extra high tack support sheet on it, just a regular mat. And I always put it heat and bond side down. In the past, the only time I've used a mat with that high tack adhesive support sheet on it, I've only ever used that for unbonded fabric because that is really sticky. And it does give, Mandy, it does give such a clean cut. If I try and hold it up, it's a perfectly clean cut when you use heat and bond. So that's going to be a project that I'm going to probably finish off sometime this week, but as I say, I may have to keep this because it's got that water stain in it that doesn't appear to be wanting to come out. So that's the first one done with heat and bond. So I'm just going to put that on one side for now. So now I've got 2 pieces of cotton here, which I'm going to cut shapes with again, which is from a project that's in canvas, and it's an applique and an embroidered project, which I'm hoping to dig out the embroidery arm of my machine this week and see, again, it's coasters, and see if I can make the project. But I thought, as I need to cut some applique for it, I might as well do it tonight while that's what I'm showing. So that's what these 2 pieces of fabric are for. Hopefully I'm going to get 2 cups from one piece and 2 cups for another, which will give me 4 pieces of applique to make 4 coasters. But before I do that, I've got a question for all you sewers that might be on here. So I'll put that to one side for a minute. I want to show you something I've made this week. It's not finished yet, but this is something I've been making, and you're going to need to zoom you back out. So this is something I've been making this week, and this has been cut with the fabric mat and the fabric blade. And all this was all done with the ScanNCut. So I cut all the half square triangles, I put the draw line in and the cut line, and all this was all made with the ScanNCut. And my question to all you sewers out there is, I chose a triangle from within the basic shapes. I made the size I wanted, and I added the seam allowance and cut all the different triangles for this project. But I've seen on the internet that some people cut squares and they put them right side together and they draw a diagonal line, and then they sew 1/4 inch on each side and cut. So how do you do yours if you're a sewer? Do you use the triangles and sew them like I've done, or do you use the squares? Now, the only reason I didn't do squares, to me it's the same amount of sewing, because if you use the squares you've got to sew 2 lines to get 2 triangles, and if you make triangles you're sewing two lines, aren't you? But the only reason I didn't use the squares was, I know that if I draw a line diagonally and I need to stitch 1/4 inch on either side, my brain will see that line and I'll sew on that line, and I'll probably spend more time unpicking than doing it by sewing triangles. So what do you all do? Can you let me know? This is going to be a gift for somebody, but it's also a blog post, or it's going to be a blog post for makers. So I've been literally photographing it all along the way and writing up a blog project. I've quilted it quite very simply. I've done double quilting lines down the middle on the vertical and on the horizontal, and then on some of these I've done like, is it called stitching the ditch, where you sew down the sewn seam. So that's the back of it all quilted, and then this is going to actually be the back of the cushion cover. Not sure how well you're going to see it. And I'm going to put a zip in the bottom, and I'm just waiting for the zip to arrive. So that's why it's not finished. So this will hopefully get finished this week. But that's a sewing project that I did. But as I said, this was all done using the fabric mat and the fabric blade, and no iron on of any kind. So basically naked fabric. So let me see what you're saying before we go back to... Hi Joyce, hope you're okay. Barbara's saying that's lovely. Mandy's saying, oh Ashley, that's lovely, half square triangles. Irene is saying sew the diagonal line on the squares. Okay, so you do the squares first and draw the line and then sew, okay. Jacqueline, you're saying you use squares as well, okay. You see, at first when I thought about it, I thought, well, squares might be quicker because it's not as much cutting. But then I thought you still have to sew 2 lots of sew lines. So in the end, to take the margin of error out for me, I just cut triangles and sewed the triangles together. Ellen's saying that's beautiful. Thank you, Ellen. Mandy G is saying, I use the square method just because you make 2 at once. If you've got a 1/4 inch foot, you put both sides against the line. Okay, yeah, I have got a 1/4 inch foot, but to me, you still... So Mandy, do you draw the line on? Because my little tiny brain would see that line and think, that's where I sew. And I know I'd be sewing on the line instead of to the left or right of it. So to me, I would probably spend more time unpicking it. And I just thought, it's, if I've just got triangles and I've only got to sew one line and you can chain piece them, that's why I did the triangles. But it's interesting, I just thought I'd ask you all, because I thought when I was making it the other day, I thought I'm going to ask and see what everybody else does, which way they do it. Alison's saying that's lovely. So Diana is saying you can draw diagonal lines using a 1/4 inch ruler to mark the sewing lines. Oh, okay, so you draw 2 lines and follow that line. See, the only way I've seen it done is draw 1 line diagonally, and then they literally, when they've got that drawn line, they just put the foot to the left and sew, and the foot to the right and sew. So they don't, and then they just cut on that line. Linda's saying love it. Mandy G's saying you couldn't get any better than those seams matching up, it's great. Yeah, the seams do match up lovely, to be fair, and I think that's just because I was following the sewn draw line, because I got the machine to put the draw line on, and then I added the 1/4 inch seam allowance, so every triangle had a draw line on it, and at every stage of the process, so when I was like sewing 2 triangles together, I had a line to follow. Then when they became squares to join together, I still had all the lines, so I had the lines to follow at every step of the way, which made it so easy, and I think that's why they match up perfectly. Right, let me see what you're saying. Irene is saying use a marked mat, underlines up perfectly, made by So Steady. Okay. Yes, I draw the line and run the 1/4 inch foot along it both sides. Yeah, that's how I've seen it done. But to me, if I see a drawn line there, I know that I would sew down that line and I'd end up unpicking. Jacqueline is saying, I think if you pre-cut the triangles, you run the risk of distortion. Okay. There's another thing thrown into the mix then. Okay. Well, I did cut triangles. I cut 64 white triangles, and then I cut, what's 64 divided by 3? Is it 16? I cut 16 of each of 4 colours, all in triangles. So maybe I did make it harder for myself. It was a nice project though to do, to be fair. I'm just waiting for the zip now, as I say, so I can finish it. Diana is saying using squares allows you to square up the block for greater accuracy. Looks like you did a fine job using triangles. Okay. Yeah, I think, as I say, I think it's because I had the sewn line, the draw line to sew on. Never used a sewing machine, bought one for Christmas. Brilliant, Alison. Irene is saying oversized the squares, then trim down after sewing. Okay, all right, that's another option. Cece, you're all giving me good ideas. Right, let's get back to this then. Let's bring this mat back in. So, again, I've got heat and bond ironed onto the back. I'm just going to remove the paper. I'm going to put heat and bond side down onto just my regular mat. And obviously you might not be able to see this as well because this is white fabric on a white mat. Bring the machine, slide it back in and load it into the machine. Let's flip you back. Now I've got light shining on my screen. Let me see if I can get the glare away. You can have a bit of glare, I'm afraid. If I try and move this, I might knock the camera off, so let's see what we can do. Okay, I'm going to hit the home button and I'm going to say yes to get rid of all those. See if I can zoom you out a little bit. Right, so now I'm going to go to retrieve data, and I saved this file earlier into the machine. So I'm going to jump to the last page, and there are my two little applique coffee cups. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to do a background scan and scan this mat to see this white piece of fabric. I'm going to just go into the settings and make sure I've got it on the darkest setting, so you're not going to be able to see the white fabric. I can't see it that great, to be fair, so I'm going to go into edit and zoom in and just bring these cups down to this piece of white fabric that's down here. So let me move up a bit, and the only way that I can see where the piece of white fabric is on my mat is I can see the jagged cut edge here and I can't see the grid lines, so I know that this is the piece of fabric. So I'm just going to just double check that I'm in the right place, because I think they literally only just fit on here. Can't remember. Right, I'm going to send that to cut, and hopefully I've got them in the right place. I'm going to say okay, okay. I think I can just about make the outline out. Not so sure if I can actually move them over a bit more. Just going to jiggle that one over a bit, select this one and move this one over a bit more. And if I don't get it right, I can always cut it again tomorrow, or I've got another piece anyway, but I need 4 cups. So select, cut and start. Right, let me see, I've just seen a comment by somebody. So, hi Ashley, it's Lynn. Sorry I'm late, just cleared up after our evening meal. Hi Lynn, hope you're okay. So you can hear the different sound. Hopefully, and that's because this is a normal blade with a normal mat cutting fabric. The sound is totally different when you use the fabric mat and the fabric blade with unbonded fabric. Right, let me just check it's cut through. So I'm just going to peel. Yeah, that's cut through. So I'm going to flip you back, unload the mat, just push the machine back out of the way again for a minute. So I've just seen another comment. Let me see what you're saying. So, hi, I'm Leah, hoping to treat myself to a ScanNCut early in the new year. Can anybody tell me what the best model is for fabric and heat transfer vinyl? Leah, where are you in the country? Are you in England, or are you in a different part of the world? Or I would go for the one that you can, the best one you can get for your money. The top of the range is the one I've got, which is the 2200 Disney machine. There's another version of this machine now available from makers. It's the same machine with the same chassis. It just doesn't have as many patterns and it has no Disney. So, and I think it's called, is it called the 135 Pro or something like that? I can't remember. So if you're in the UK, makerssuperstore.com. I know they've not got the Disney machine at the moment. They're hoping to get some more back in on the 4th of January. They've sold them all out. And I believe they've got some more coming in just before Christmas, but they're all paid for. So then the next lot after that's going to be the beginning of January. Barbara is saying, so if you cut a fancy shape using the fabric mat, i.e. not heat bonded, do you iron some on later to fix it to your project before sewing it? If you're going to be using something that you're using an iron on, I would put the iron on before you cut it, Barbara. The only time I would use the fabric mat and the fabric blade is if I'm cutting fabric that's not going to have any iron on at all. So if you definitely know that you want like a heat and bond, or, you know, like the Brother applique sheet, then use your standard mat and your standard blade and use the iron on and cut your shape. I wouldn't go to the faff of, you know, cutting a shape first and then cutting heat and bond and trying to put those two together. Which do you prefer, fabric mat and blade, or no? I prefer the fabric mat and the fabric blade. But like I say, if you're using heat and bond, I did cut a piece of fabric with heat and bond with my fabric mat and my fabric blade, but the fabric mat's a lot stickier and it's stuck. I mean, it did come off, but it's stuck on the mat, you know, a lot more. So I would use bonded fabric with your normal mat and your normal blade, and unbonded fabric, I would definitely use the fabric mat and the fabric blade. Hope that makes sense. Yes, I'm in Lancashire, Brill. Thanks for the tip. I will look on the website. Yeah, okay, so it's called makerssuperstore.com. As I say, the Disney machine, which is the 2200D, D for Disney, is the top of the range model. That won't be in until January. If you're going to be cutting fabric, then if it's fabric with no iron on, Leah, then you definitely need the fabric mat, the fabric blade and the fabric blade holder. But as I say, they are selling another machine now. I think it's called the 135 or the 35 Pro, something like that. If you go to my website, applelover53.co.uk, Leah, and go to the ScanNCut tab, there's a help and information section. And if you go on to the help and information section and scroll down near the bottom, there's a comparison chart of the 3 models of machine that makers sell. And it shows you the 3 differences. So as I say, the 2200D is the top of the range. Then there's this next one down, which I think is called the something Pro. From memory, all the machines and the chassis are all the same, but the difference in price is that I think one of them only scans at 12 by 12, whereas the other 2 scan at 12 by 24. And they have different amounts of designs and fonts in each of the different machines. So you just need to go and do a little bit of research, but all the information is on my website, so it should be easy for you to find. Diana is saying, Barbara, it is easier to stabilise your fabric with heat and bond first. You only have to cut once. Yeah, exactly. So me personally, if I'm doing anything with a heat and bond or that type of thing ironed onto the back of the fabric, then I would probably just use my regular blade and my regular mat like I'm doing now. So let's just move this. And I've got 2 bits of my applique. with the iron on already on. So I've got 2 more to cut. So let's just move those. I'll bring in my next piece, peel away the paper backing. Barbara's saying, oh, thanks Ashley and Diana. It's the SDX 135. Okay, there you go. So the SDX 135 Pro, I'm sure if you read that comparison, I'm sure the basic machines are the same, or I've read it somewhere. The chassis and everything is the same. It's what's actually built into the machine that's different. So I think it's a lesser amount of fonts, a lesser amount of built-in patterns, and I think one of them only scans at 12 by 12 and the other 2 scan at 12 by 24 as well. Right, Vicky's saying that was the problem I had with the sticky mat. It wouldn't come up. You can use the fabric mat but put shiny side up, i.e. heat and bond side up. Okay, you would need to reverse image before cutting. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to put this one on now and cut 2 more. So let's just move this out of the way. Put my 2 cups there. Bring this back in. I'm going to say okay and load the mat. And I'm just going to rescan because I honestly don't know whether this fabric is in the same place as it was before. So I'm going to hit the go back button, scan the mat again and say start. Leah, I'm going to be doing more heat transfer vinyl in the new year. I think we had this discussion last week or the week before, I can't remember. I'm going to buy the Cricut Easy Press. So I'm going to be doing more heat transfer vinyl projects. So there will be things like that coming to the channel. I'm just going to go into edit and zoom in and just scroll down and see if I've got these in the right place again. I think I have actually. I'm going to say okay, 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 select and cut and start. Alison saying, I have Material Magic Liquid Fabric Stabilizer. Yeah, I've seen that, but I've never used it. Is that the one that you soak your fabric in and it kind of makes it like a kind of a paper consistency? Let me just have a quick drink while this is cutting. Just going back to Vicky's comment, I think I read in the instructions that came with my fabric mat that it is purely for unbonded fabric. So, like you say, Vicky, if you are using the fabric mat with bonded fabric, then it probably would make sense to turn your fabric over, like you say, and put fabric side down rather than heat and bond side down. So let me just peel these away, peel my scraps off. So I can put the mat out of the way. I'm going to push the ScanNCut machine out of the way. So there are my 4 pieces from a project that I'm hopefully going to try this week sometime, which are going to be a combination of applique. Oh, I need to put you back down so you can see. Oh, that was my elbow on the desk. So these hopefully are going to be coasters, and they're going to be a combination of applique and machine embroidery. But while I was cutting this embroidery earlier, I thought I might as well do these while I'm with you all. Right, so let's see. Mandy's saying, yay, I bought some heat transfer vinyl, would love to do some projects. Well, I'll definitely be doing some. I've, as I say, I'm seriously going to be buying the Cricut Easy Press, and I'm going to get myself a stock of heat transfer vinyl and then see what we can come up with in the new year. Diane is saying, can I please ask which heat and bond you use? Is it the strong one or the one you can sew through? Sorry if it's already been mentioned, but I was a bit late coming in. Diane, don't worry, it was already mentioned. I discussed it at the beginning, but I have both. So the Heat and Bond Ultra, and as I said at the beginning, this is just some really, really old packaging I found with some little tiny scraps in. And I know it's old because it's got Puzzles information on, and I've not owned a Puzzles machine for years. So yeah, there's the Ultra, which I do sew through. I know you don't have to, it says no sew on the packaging, but I've always sewn through it. And then there's the Light. This I think is the Light from memory. This Heat and Bond I've used on these it's Heat and Bond I kind of bought by the yard. So I've got like a big, huge, like couple of meters of it. So it didn't actually come with any packaging, but I think when I bought it, it was Heat and Bond Light. So yeah, either will do, either will work, Diane. If you're using just a regular mat and a regular blade, then put the Heat and Bond side down to your mat like I've just shown. Right, let me see what else is being saying. So KK is saying, hi Ashley, CM900, also use Embrilliance Essentials with my Mac. Is it possible to cut an embroidery design, Pez, which I transferred in FCM with a ScanNCut? It is not an applique but an embroidery. Okay. I also have Embrilliance Essentials and I also use a Mac. And this design that you see in here is a canvas workspace design, and the embroidery element of it is a Pez file. I opened it in Embrilliance Essentials and I just resaved it as a JEF file because I use Janome. If you've got a Pez file and if it's got an applique element, then yes, you can cut the applique with your ScanNCut. What you can do is you can open up your file in Embrilliance Essentials and you choose the first step of your embroidery, which is generally like the outline, and you can make that outline into a ScanNCut FCM file. I've got a video on my channel, so if you go to the playlist, who was it, KK, sorry, if you go to the playlist on my channel and go to the sewing playlist, there is a video showing how you can make a cutting file from an embroidery file, if that makes sense. Mandy G is saying Heat and Bond Light, Diane. KK, I am from the Netherlands. Okay, well, welcome. Diane is saying, thank you. Mandy, Alison Morgan saying, I'm not sure, I haven't used it yet. Ellen is saying, I have the Cricut Easy Press, both the same size, both the small size and the large size. The little one I find really good for small areas. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I'm going to get, I think it's the middle size, because I think we discussed this. There's 3 sizes of heat press, isn't there? There's the big one, and then there's a middle one, which is it, I'm sure, I think you told me last week, Helen, anyway, didn't you, what the size was? Is it 7x7 or 9x9? Can't remember. I think it's the middle size I'm going to get, not the small one. And then there's a mini, isn't there, that you can do for like hats and things. So what we're saying. I'm getting HTV and 651 for Christmas presents, waiting for vinyl kits coming from makers, but need my 2200 back. It's still in Germany before I can play. Oh, bummer. Makers are working on getting vinyl, because I was speaking to them this week about that. Because obviously we've got the vinyl blade now, and I've been cutting vinyl projects, but they don't actually sell vinyl, but they are working on it. So this, did I show you these last week? Hang on. I can't remember whether I've shown you these or not already. I've been cutting adhesive, because these are some vinyl, sorry. I've been making some adhesive sampler packs up to sell on my website. This is the last one. All the others have sold out, and basically I've bought the vinyl cases and I've just cut the word adhesive from vinyl with the vinyl blade, and I've been personalising these, and I've got more cases and more adhesive to come. So I've been cutting, I've got some more somewhere, but they're all at the back of my office. So I've been cutting vinyl. So makers are definitely looking into getting vinyl. Vicky's saying, if you sew through the heavy stuff, just keep an eye on your needle, it might get sticky. Yeah, that's what I've been told in the past, or it might just get dull sooner. Okay, yeah. I mean, I have sewn through both. I've sewn through the no-sew and the heat and bond light, but yeah, I have heard people say that it can or could sticky up your needle. I've never had any problems, but this is definitely the light that's on the back of here. I think I've exhausted all the ultra hold that I've had over the years, unless I come across, you know, some more, but I think all the heat and bond I've got now is all, as I say, the light that you sew through. Because this heat and bond light, it would stick on your project, but it would come off in the wash, whereas the ultra bond that says no sew on the packaging, my understanding of that is that you can, once it's heat set, you can wash it and it should stay in place. So Diane is saying, thanks so much, Ashley. Hi Jason, hope you're okay. Hi all, I've managed to be late again. Try to be on time next week. Don't worry Jason, it should hopefully be being recorded. Debbie P, hello all, sorry to sound dense, but is HTV heat transfer vinyl? Yes it is, Debbie. I am dithering whether to go for the SDX 2200D machine. No real use for it apart from I just fancy one. Okay, what machine have you got now, Debbie P? Oh, it wasn't you, Ellen. Okay, I thought somebody mentioned about the Cricut Easy Press last week. I thought it was you that told me which one. Anyway, I think it's the middle one I'm going to buy. Mandy G is saying, oh, I'm intrigued about the embroidery / Pez advice. I have the CM900 and a Brother V5 embroidery machine, but have never managed to sort out using them together. Okay, well, Mandy G, this is going to be a project with my embroidery machine, which I'm hopefully going to film this week. And this is a project in Canvas. And this file is a Pez file. I just opened it in Embrilliance Essentials, and I've changed the embroidery element of this file into a JEF, because that's the file format that my embroidery machine uses. So the V5, that's a nice big fancy machine, isn't it? I have the Janome Memorycraft 9900. I don't know why I didn't buy a Brother machine. I think it was because the Brother machines, or at the time when I was buying mine, the Brother machines have a big like platform that you slide on, whereas my Memorycraft, it goes out the back, and I think it was a bit more of a space saving thing for me at the time. So that's why, and I think I had a Janome machine. Did I have a Brother? Actually, I think I had a Brother sewing machine, you know, before, so I don't know why I didn't go with a Brother embroidery machine, but anyway, hey ho, I love it. It's a great machine. It's a good solid machine. So right, Vicky's saying, I have the largest Cricut Easy Press. It gives excellent results. Okay. The adhesive samples are vinyl, but not HTV. Yeah, sorry. This is just regular vinyl cut with the vinyl blade. But I will be getting some heat transfer vinyl when I buy my Easy Press, and then I'll be doing some heat transfer vinyl projects as well. Sorry, not to confuse. Nail polish remover will remove glue from your needles. Okay. And I tell you what else I use as well. I use the, oh, I always forget what it's called, the rubbing alcohol. That gets rid of sticky stuff as well. Debbie P saying thank you, and I haven't at the moment. Okay, well, the 2200 Disney machine is the machine I've got, and I love it. But as I say, makers now do that 135 Pro, but go and read up on it because I can't remember, it's that long ago since I read. But I have a feeling that the chassis and the machines of the 135 Pro and the Disney machine are basically the same. It's the difference is with what you get in the machine. So you'll get no Disney, and I think you get less basic shapes, less fonts, something like that. Irene is saying, sorry, I don't understand that. What CA embroidery work with Bernina machines? Not sure what that means, Irene. Caroline is saying, I have to go, so we'll watch up and later. Bless you all. Thanks, Ashley. Thumbs up for all you share. You're welcome, because I've finished cutting now. I'm literally just looking at your questions and chatting. But yes, thank you, Caroline. V5 is a lovely machine. I'll look in Canvas and try and suss out the PES file to use them together. Thank you. I know some embroidery designs don't have anything within them that you can turn into an applique, but some files do. So if they're an applique file and it's not one that's already, you know, got the ScanNCut cutting file with it, I've got a video showing how you can make an FCM cutting file for applique to go with an applique design, if that makes sense. It's definitely in the sewing playlist on my channel. It's not the first one, it's not the one with the elephant. I can't even remember what I cut with it. It might actually have been a split letter, something like that. The very first one I ever did was showing how to do it before I knew an alternative way, if that makes sense. But there's definitely a video showing how to do it. In Embrilliance you can change colour. That's it, it's in the colour. You click on the colour swatch. That's it, KK, I remember now. So you click on the colour swatch, that brings another box up. Then you can click on applique and you can make the first kind of stitching line into a ScanNCut cutting file. This particular one with the cups is in Canvas Workspace, and they give you the cutting file already. Okay, thanks for that, KK. Yeah, that's exactly where it is now. I couldn't think how you found it, but you're right. You click on the colour swatch and then it brings up another box, doesn't it? And then you click on applique. And if it doesn't say applique already, then that means that that first kind of tack down of the shape isn't an applique, but you can make it one and make it into a cut file. Okay. Mandy G saying, I don't know about Embrilliance. Is that something you pay for? Okay, Embrilliance Essentials is a piece of applique software for Mac. Can you use it for Windows? Is if anybody's on here, can you tell me? I can't remember. I know the reason I got it was because you could use it for Mac, and I think you can use it for Windows. There's a free version, or there was a free version, and I think it lets you use it, but I can't remember if it might not let you send, it might not let you sew the design, or it might not let you save it. I can't remember. But then it's in Elements and you pay for certain elements. I've got the basic Brilliance Essentials, which basically allows me to open any embroidery file in any file format and lets me change it into a file format that I want to change it in. So in other words, if like this was a pez, I've been able to open the embroidery element of this coaster design, and I can change the actual embroidery element from a pez to a Jeff, because that's what I have. But you can change it to all the other formats as well, so like Husqvarna and all those other things. Or you could get a Husqvarna file, open it in Embrilliance, and then save it as a pez. I hope that makes sense. So Mandy G's saying, I have a Mac. Yeah, I have a Mac and I use Embrilliance Essentials. As I say, there used to be a free version and you could install it on your Mac and you could use it and play around with it, and you could play with the fonts that are in it and all that kind of thing. But there was something it wouldn't let you do, and I can't remember it. Either wouldn't let you send it to your machine to sew it, or it wouldn't let you save it. But it's enough for you to work out if you think that you're going to like it and you're going to use it. And when I got my new Mac earlier on this year, I had to contact Embrilliance because my last Mac died and I couldn't remember any of my login details, and I emailed Embrilliance and explained I'd got a new machine, and they found me from my name and they sent me my details, so I was able to install it onto my new Mac, and hence I can use it now if I want to. You can use it for Windows as well. Okay, that's fine. I thought you could, but I know I got it because you can use it on Mac. And at the time, I think there wasn't a lot of embroidery software out there that would work on Mac that was reasonably priced, because a lot of these I can't digitize with the you know, the package I bought, but you can, I think, buy extra elements. But I don't want to digitize. It's something else I'd need to learn, and I don't do that much, so I didn't need it. I just wanted the basics. I wanted to be able to, you know, open a file and make a ScanNCut file from it, or change a file from a pez to a Jeff kind of thing. So Mandy G saying, I know what I'll be doing tomorrow, looking up Embrilliance Essentials. Yeah, go and have a look. As I say, they did give you a free version that you could play with and use. Debbie P is saying, got to run, thanks again, you're welcome. Vicky's saying, brother has embroidery software that you pay mega dollars for. Yeah, I know. It's called PE Design. Not sure if it's still called that. A lot of them I know are a lot of money, but Embrilliance Essentials, as I say, you buy it in modules. So I've basically got, I think, like the first module, which, you know, lets me merge designs, it lets me resize designs, it lets me rotate and all that kind of thing. It lets me add text, it lets me bring in BX fonts, which are fonts that are read as a font, rather than sometimes when you buy an embroidery file and you have to put each individual letter onto your mat and position it. So it does all that kind of stuff. But if I wanted to get further into embroidery, which I don't really think I would do, then I'd need to buy other modules. So that was the kind of like the cheapest way of doing it. I can't remember how much I paid for it, because I have had it years, and in more recent years, probably for the last maybe 2 or 3 years, I've not even used it. As I say, once my Mac died and I got my new Mac, I couldn't even remember how to get into it. But I did look at it today, because I've opened this file from Canvas and I've changed, as I say, there's going to be embroidery on these cups, and I've changed that element within Embrilliance Essentials into a JEF, a Janome format. Right, Barbara's saying, have to go. Got tea now, Ashley. Thank you for the brilliant tutorials again. Have a lovely week. Yeah, same to you, Barbara. Thank you. Mandy, you'll have no. Sorry is a good program. Essentials is for both Mac and Windows. Brilliant. Yeah. Irene, not sure what features are included with Benina software. Look first, and Brilliance works with almost all embroidery formats. Yeah, that's what I mean. When I went to change this pez file to a Jeff, it brings up a whole host. There's things I didn't even recognise. I know Husqvarna was on there. The Benina will probably be on there as well. Irene, you should be able to, you have to see if your software will export a file that Canvas can read, like an SVG or a PDF. Yeah, that was one thing I did notice when I was looking at the Appliqué, before I realised this Appliqué FCM file is in the folder. You can make an Appliqué, and again, you can export it as an SVG or an FCM in Brilliance Essentials. But for this particular one, I didn't need to do it because Brother have given us the FCM cutting file for these little cups. You can use it for every machine. Brilliant. Thanks for that, KK. Jason's saying, I got PE design. It's expensive and can be a pain to use. It helped as I worked in fashion design. All right, okay, so you've used the PE design. I've not used any embroidery software other than Embrilliance. As I say, when I bought my memory craft, that's when I started looking at software, and it was mega money, and a lot of it did seem quite complicated, and I'm not that clever. So I went for the simplest one, which was Embrilliance, and I like it. But yeah, if you can use like the PE designs and any others that are out there, then, you know, that's great. I know I'm not into digitizing. I'm not into making files for embroidery machines. So it's not, you know, it's not something I would want to do. Mandy G saying, I have PE design, Vicky, but it takes some sorting, and I've tried so many times to work out how to use it with my ScanNCut. Okay. Benina uses PES files too. Ah, right, okay, that's interesting. I thought they all use their own file format. Husqvarna uses it. Is it Husk? Is it HUS or something like that? So Benina uses PES as well. Okay, I know Genome is Jeff because that's what I have, JEF. I don't know if there's any other machines that use that as well, but that's interesting. So has anybody got any last questions before I wind up? This is another thing I've been working on this week. A thank you shaped card. This is another cutting file that's on my website. So this week, basically, I've fiddled about with a bit of card making. I've done the sewing that I showed you earlier, the patchwork, which I'm waiting for the zip for. I quickly put this together last night in readiness for this applique. I'll finish that off, and then hopefully this week I'm going to get round to seeing if I can film a project and, excuse me, make the cups into the coasters that are in the canvas file. Oh, that was my arm. All my bones are creaking every time I move. Right, I'm going to have a quick drink of my juice. Has anybody got any last minute questions? Anything that you might want to see next week in particular? Oh, excuse me, I'm thirsty. Jason and Mandy, I agree. I got a book by Penny Muncaster Jewell that is like a tutorial on how to use PE design. Okay, I was working through it and learning to digitize until life interrupted. Oh, well done, Vicky. I don't think my brain could get any more in. What with ScanNCut and Stampin' Up, I don't think I've got any space for learning to digitize. Lynn's saying, I've had to clear all my designing for the next couple of weeks. I've 48 box cushions to make for a bar for a new year. Oh my Lord, Lynn. 48 box cushions, you're going to be busy. Ellen's saying, Ashley, you make everything look so easy. Oh, thank you. Well, you know, it isn't always easy. A lot of it is, but it isn't always. And as you see if you watch some of my Sunday night lives, I make messes and mistakes as well. So, you know, none of us are perfect, are we? Mandy G saying, brilliant session, Ashley. Thanks, Vicky. Great to know it's not just me who has struggled with the PE design. Digitising is a commitment, Vicky's saying. Yeah, I can believe it is. And it's not a commitment I want to get into, I'm afraid, Vicky. But I tell you what, I hold my hands up if you've been learning it. I'm definitely seriously thinking about doing the quilt along next year, because quite a few people seem to like the idea of that, and a few people messaged me after we discussed it last week and said yes, they'd love to see something like that. So I'm going to have a think about that going into the new year. Not sure if I'll start it in January, but it's something that I'm definitely thinking about. Also, the heat transfer vinyl and easy press projects, definitely thinking about. Seriously, as I say, I'm going to go and get an easy press at some point. Either actually physically go to a shop and buy one or get one sent to me. What else was I thinking of? I've got another card making craft along, which I'm hoping to try and do in January, because the one I did last month in November was quite popular. Jason's saying it's a degree on its own. Can I still get warm and toasty? I think it's gone, Jason. If you go to my Stampin' Up shop and type in warm and toasty, if it doesn't show up, it's gone. That's the thing, when Stampin' Up puts stuff on the retired list, it literally goes like mega quick. KK saying, thanks for this session, Ashley. Learn a lot from you about the ScanNCut. You're welcome. And thank you for being here. Okay, any last questions or comments or anything you want to discuss? Hannah and I have got Strictly to watch from last night and the results tonight. So in a bit, after I've had something to eat, we're going to sit down and watch last night's programme and then the results all in one go. I got PE design too, but back in 2000 when I got my Bernina machine, but it's an old format computer and no longer supported. So it's £600 out of the window. Oh dear, Lynn, that's dreadful, isn't it? I think that was another reason why I went with Brilliance, because I know a lot of people used it and, you know, it seems to be well supported. And because it works with so many different formats and it was a good price in the end, that's why I went with Brilliance. And it's nice to know that they're still there and still going. Rachel's saying, learned something new, thank you. You're welcome, Rachel. Diane is saying, morning, I think that's meant to be everyone. Catherine is saying, thanks, Ashley, great lesson, learned a lot. Jason's saying, oh, well, we'll have to be faster next time. Oh, Jason, bless you. The catalogues went in the post, by the way, the other day, Jason, as well, by the way. So yours was in the stack of stuff I took to the post office the other day. Who do I want to win? Nah, I honestly don't know. As I say, I've not watched last night's yet. I think they've all been good, haven't they? I think, is it Ranveer has been doing well recently. Maisie's been amazing from the beginning, hasn't she? And Harvey. So I honestly don't know, to be fair. Who do you want to win, Mandy? So Vicky's saying warm and toasty is still available in the US/Canada. Okay, I have a feeling it's sold out here in the UK. Jason's saying dark materials later. What do you mean, Jason? I'm not sure what that means. Yeah, I contacted Benina, but their attitude was sorry, but upgrade. That's dreadful, Lynn. Vicky's saying CCC, that is another big problem with PE design, and the upgrades are like mega dollars. Yeah. Power Tools with Threads does a lot of Brilliance and ScanNCut. Yes, I've seen her. Is it Becky? She seems lovely, doesn't she? She does a lot of embroidery. Harvey is the best all-round dancer. Yeah, and he's not been a dancer before, has he? I don't know about Maisie either. Jason's saying, thanks, waiting now for my 2 orders. I know, I saw you put another order in, Jason. Thank you very much. I'm speaking as a ballroom pro. Okay. It's a close one this year, but I love Bill's attitude. Yeah. Do you know what? To be fair, when I first started watching it, I said to Hannah, oh, I think Bill will be the first one to go. And he's still in it, isn't he? Don't know. Obviously, as I said, I don't know what's going to happen tonight, but Dark Materials is a series after Strictly Ashley. Okay. Right, so what time is it? Been on for over an hour. The Netherlands ain't many books, etc. for embroidery. Most of the stuff I buy when I'm in the States at my sister's place. Okay, so you don't have a lot of support for stuff in the Netherlands. It's a programme, His Dark Materials, 2nd series. Not heard of that. To be honest, I don't watch TV. So the most TV I've watched this year is this series of Strictly. That's it. I don't watch TV at all. That's why I don't know, but I do know. The judges have annoyed me this year, only Craig who speaks the truth. Do you not think that Craig's got a bit softer this year? I think he seems to have been a bit softer this year than he's been in previous years. I know he can be a bit cutting at times, but I don't know, I just get the impression that he's been a little bit softer on them this year. Okay, so Harvey just danced with his singing, no formal training. Okay. Is Len a judge? No, Len's not there anymore, is he? Len, I don't know. He stepped down, didn't he, from the UK? I don't know whether he still does it in the States or in the other places, but he stepped down, didn't he? And this year, Bruno's stranded in America. So there's Oti, isn't there, there's Motzi, which is Oti's sister. There's Craig, and then there's Shirley is the head judge, isn't she? And Bruno comes on through like a TV link, doesn't he, and just does a bit of speaking, but he doesn't vote. So all the dancers only get three judges figures, don't they, now this year rather than 4. Ellen is saying, yes, I thought that Ashley, he has been a bit softer. Yeah, I thought he has. Not in the US either. Okay, he must have maybe stepped down altogether then, but is there one in Germany or somewhere like that? So I don't know. I know he retired from the UK one. Can't remember when, but yes, he has been softer, but at least he gives proper feedback, not just wishy-washy statements. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's kind of like what do you call it? Constructive criticism, isn't it? So they know to work on something. I know what you mean. Len retired altogether. Okay, he was in his mid-70s. Okay, so we've had a Strictly lesson as well, which is good fun. Right, I can't see any other questions popping up, so I'm going to say stay safe to everybody, keep well, and I'll speak to you all soon. No idea what I'm going to do next Sunday now, so if anybody's got any ideas, let me know. Used to work with a guy who makes all the costumes for the show. Oh, right, okay, that's interesting. They do make some fabulous costumes though, don't they? I must admit, some of the dresses that they've had this year. What's the Welsh girl called? She's had some beautiful dresses this year. Okay, it's saying I've been on an hour and 26 minutes, so I'm going to go. But if anybody has got any suggestions for next week, either leave them underneath in the comments or message me. And I've just seen, let me read that again. So Lynn is saying, my dance partner was Shirley's ex-hubby. Oh, wow. So do you dance in competitions, Lynn? The advantage of starting with squares may be that you are not dealing with bias when sewing triangles. Okay, that's another thought. I think somebody mentioned about sewing on the bias, didn't they? Ellen is saying thank you, Ashley. KK saying thanks, Vicky. Charlotte's saying thank you, Ashley. I need to know now about Lynn and this dancing business. So I'm going to wait for Lynn to come back and answer me. So Lynn's dance partner was Shirley's ex-hubby. Wow. Famous, Lynn. Don't forget to give the thumbs up, Mandy G saying, oh, thank you, Mandy. They do help, you know, they do help YouTube push your videos out to more people. Alison's saying, thanks so much, Ashley. Stay safe, everybody. Yes, and thank you, Alison. And we've not had any trolls tonight, so that was good, wasn't it? I'll be on time with some questions. Ellen saying, me too. Thanks, Ashley. I think I know who Bruno is, but none of the others. Okay. I did in the 70s, was All England Pro Latin champion before I retired. Oh my days, Lynn. Brilliant. Oh my goodness. All England Pro Latin champion. Wow, amazing. Right, I can't see any last comments or questions, so I am going to go now. So take care, everybody.